since the thing began. They're going to reopen Sunday, they hope. But the Egyptian pound is getting pounded, despite all the central bank intervention from no fewer than 6 central banks.
It's
still tumbling. Sentiment for anything Egyptian continues tumbling.
Or watch. It's still, in my opinion, a top 5 show on TV, but I don't watch a whole lot of TV.
He must be looking at this and realizing that if he addresses it,
but every episode that comes on, I love.
That this would only fuel more selling of anything Egyptian related and hike the cost on his own people.
Yeah, not only that, Neil, but the very important, one of the most important things, those Middle Eastern banks, they hold a lot of money. If there's any sort of run on those banks, that could spell a lot of problems. And remember, we were concerned about a run on our banks during our financial crisis. If the violence were to spread and there's a run on the banks, that could spell problems for that whole region. Again, one last very, very important point, Neil. This morning we woke up to the scene, the video of King Abdullah from Saudi Arabia sitting with President Obama saying, by the way, don't embarrass my good friend Mubarak in Egypt. They're friends. It's going to be very interesting to see the Obama response to Mubarak not stepping down. And for me, I follow these guys. Boy, 23 years in the oil business, you got to keep your eye on Saudi Arabia and everything Middle East. I want to see what Saudi Arabia says in response to the Obama response to Mubarak. Follow the money, we're going to follow it. Boy, I tell you, it's going to heat up.
You're alive tonight at 10 forward to that. And of course, I was referring to the Saudi king in a very blunt phone call with the president saying, why don't you just pull it on this Mubarak pass? You can push him out the door. You take aid away from him, like the country's been threatening. We'll just fill the gap and prop him up ourselves. Again, I'm getting to the gist of that, but that's pretty weird, folks. That gets pretty dicey. All right, our expert, Eric Stockelbeck, joining us now in Jerusalem. Where do you think this is going, Eric, especially when you have a Saudi king sort of jawboning our president to cool it?
Well, Neil, look, I've been speaking to Israeli officials on and off the record here in Jerusalem all week, and the view here, I can tell you, from Israel is very pessimistic. I was told that this is going to go one of 3 ways. Either you'll basically have a military dictatorship, you'll have something similar to Turkey, where you have an Islamist government but is not overtly jihadist, and the third and worst option, Neil, and the one that the Saudi king undoubtedly is worried about, is the Muslim Brotherhood seizing power in Egypt and turning it into an Islamic state. Why would the Saudis, who are radicals themselves, be worried about this? Because there's a very good chance, Neil, that a Muslim Brotherhood-led Egypt could move into that orbit of Iran, Syria, Hamas, and Hezbollah. The bottom line, Neil,
that guy, I wasn't like crazy worried, but I was wrong. Chris Evans, right? He looks super cool as captain.
What's going on right now between the protesters and the military. The military's been largely hands-off with these protesters. The protesters were told
Chris Evans is buff. Only I thought he was not, and I was wrong, and he was Johnny Storm.
The military's under command from the vice president, now I guess it's acting president, who, as a former intelligence chief, is going to be telling us, look, we gotta put a rest on these protesters.
Yeah, it was funny. I dug it.
What do they do?
You know, Neil, it could start to get messy. I agree with you what you said earlier about Tiananmen Square, or maybe Karl Rove said it, in that we have the internet now, we have the web, we have social media. You didn't have that really during Tiananmen Square, so I'd be surprised if the Egyptians really start cracking heads and the military really moves in and gets very violent. But look, the protesters are outraged.
I think I watched that. What was his number 1?
Got a show of force for the military. Interesting point here, Neil. The protesters, as we've seen, they're united in one thing at least.
I think I watched it, but I was kind of drunk.
But here's the question.
So yeah, it was like a Tuesday.
What do they want? The Muslim Brotherhood, we have to say is the most organized opposition force in Egypt. They know exactly what they want, Neil, and they've been waiting for this for 60 years. This is a golden opportunity that they won't let pass. I talked to an Israeli official today who told me, look, this might not be a 1979 situation like Iran, where you have a militant theocracy develop overnight. It may be more like what we're seeing in Lebanon with Hezbollah. In 2005, Hezbollah took part in 3 elections in Lebanon, won some seats in parliament. Fast forward 6 years, Neil, just last month, Hezbollah basically seized the Lebanese government, which means Iran is now going to be running Lebanon.
Weird. Eric, thank you very, very much. All right, just a few minutes before the top of the hour to update you. Hosni Mubarak is equivalent to the guy they're forcing out of the company. And he begs the company, what
in Kick-Ass?
And they say no. Then when do you want me to go? He says, well, you know, I still want to have some role. And they say no. Can I use the conference room as an office? They say no. Can I use the cafeteria?
He put Let Me In as one of his worst movies of the year?
But unfortunately, he's the guy running the cafeteria, and they all, they're all part of the presidential palace.
He's way too popular to say things like that.
Over which Hosni Mubarak still has direct control, even though he says it has been handed to a vice president who ostensibly is calling the shots today. Is Brigitte Gabriel joining us? Terrorism expert, knows a thing or two about the reason. Brigitte, are you buying it?
No, I'm not buying it. I mean, Mubarak, he's trying to save face, you know, because humility and honor in the Middle East is something
I wish that I had as strong of an opinion about Let Me In to hate it. I would like it more if I hated it. Just because, as it stood, it was good, you know? It was there. It was a movie. And really, that's my opinion of it. It was there, and it was a movie. It didn't strike me. It didn't make me think. It was just a competently made movie that I kind of enjoyed. I just didn't have any strong opinions either way.
No one seems to know who's on first. You have a president getting addressed and a vice president getting addressed, and it's like a bad habit in Costello. So I cannot imagine this situation is improving.
Well, it's not going to improve. It's going to get more difficult in the next few days. The reason why the military is trying to